Welcome to This Day, Our Future. I'm Herb Jean Carroll with my co-host Skylar Gaines. Skylar, what are we going to do today?
Hello, Mr. Herb. Today we have a special guest on our show today, and here she is right now, Miss London Yumi. Welcome to our show today.
We'll do it today.
So, to start off, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, like your grade and your hobbies?
I'm 16 years old. I'm a sophomore at Titusville High School. I'm also dual enrolled and I do cheerleading.
Nice.
Good
It's a
show.
pleasure to meet you.
You say you're dual enrolled?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to extend it a little bit here. Dual enrolled. Which means you'll be in college, what, in a year or two? About 2 years?
Yes.
Sounds good. Okay, we're going to present you with something here.
Okay. Our question for you today is, what do you hope to achieve in the future?
I hope to graduate with my AA degree by the time I graduate high school. And then I want to go on to become either a teacher or a child speech therapist.
That sounds like a very good job. I hope you achieve it. If you're willing to put in the work, I have no doubt you'll go far. As a reward for coming on to our show today, we are presenting you with this $10 McDonald's gift card and this certificate of appreciation. Your presence and declaration is acknowledged and appreciated this day for our future.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
In other news, our shout-outs for today are the Titusville Fire Department, Brevard County Public Schools, the Natural Wildlife Reserves, NASA, and our cameraman Terrell.
Sounds good. Those great, great shout outs. And again, London Williams, thank you for coming on the program. Before you leave, we'll be sure you spin the wheel, okay? The wheel is, we're going to entitle you to more. I'm going to see more at this time, okay? Thank you very much. Now we have an adult guest as well. Our adult guest today is Mr. Leroy Smith. And if I must say, I've been knowing Mr. Smith for a while, and I can't say enough about him, how much I respect him, how good he's been to me, and many other people. But we want to say this right here. Mr. Smith is actually a legend in the Brevard County area here. He's a retired school teacher. He and I both love baseball. He was a baseball coach for many years. But more important than that, he's a God-fearing man. He's a loyal church member. He attends Antioch Church here in Titusville, Florida. And I want to thank you for coming on the show. Now, Smith, what I want to say is that anything that in general, just in general here, before we ask you the question, before we have a question about it. Anything in general that you want to tell us that's going on in your life or that you want to talk about?
I can kind of give you how I come up as a kid, and then we talk about the things that I've been involved with here in Brevard County, not just here in Titusville, but throughout Brevard County since I came here in '59. It was quite primitive then. It's not a whole lot more modern now than it was then because we had the plague of mosquitoes back in those days. You couldn't be outside all day because the mosquitoes were so bad they sprayed every day, every night, every morning. The airplanes flew over this county and would spray DDT on the mosquito beds, the water holes, the ditches, the canals. And then in the evening, they had trucks that went through the towns in Brevard County that sprayed. Romaine Hawkins was one of the ones who sprayed this area, who lived over on Gibson Street, down at the end of Gibson Street. He worked for the county at that and he sprayed along with several others in this entire community area. I am a product of Volusia County. I grew up in a little town called Lake Helen, Florida. Lake Helen is on I-4. My father homesteaded 160 acres there when he came from South Carolina back in 1889. He married my mom when she was only 15 years old, and he was 21, I believe that's what it was. And her parents was at what was then called a turpentine steel, which was located there in Lake Helen, in the Lake Helen area. Of that marriage, there was 10 children, 10 siblings. I am the last of 10. My father worked for the Atlantic Coastline Railroad System and was a fireman for the work train. He was building the rails from Jacksonville to Tampa, and then from Lake Albert to down to I'm trying to think of the city where Deion Sanders lived.
Fort Myers.
Fort Myers. He believed that education was what no one could take from you. If you got educated, nobody could take that from you. And so he was a proponent of making sure that his children went to school. So much so that he gave the Volusia County school system 7 acres of this property to build a small school for the kids who had to walk from Lake Helen to Osteen, which is 11 miles away to go to school. Their first education was at Osteen. Anybody know where Osteen? Osteen is in the southeast corner of Volusia County, down the northeast of Sanford, Florida. And from that union, I had a brother who was a dentist who received the first bona fide license to practice dentistry as a black dentist in the state of Florida. And he practiced dentist in Tampa. I think Curtis knew him. I had also a brother who was a judge in Palm Beach County, who was a lawyer by property. And I had 2 sisters that taught school. One just passed here last month, who taught school at home, taught elementary school. She was 95 years old. I attended Bethune-Cookman College because I had a football scholarship there. I played football and baseball. And so that's where I got a scholarship to go to, and so it didn't cost my parents a whole lot of money to send me to school. And so I attended there from 1951. I graduated from high school in 51, and I graduated from Bethune-Cookman in 55. I got a bachelor's degree in science education. During that time, they were drafting guys, and so I had been drafted almost every year I was in college, but the school got me a deferment. I graduated in May. June the 16th, I was at Jacksonville at the MEPS, as what we call the induction center. And from there to Fort Jackson, from Fort Jackson to Fort Benning, I went to jump school at Fort Benning, went to a radio teletype with the Morse code at Fort Gordon, Augusta, Georgia. From there to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, the headquarters company there for Johnson, later transferred over to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, which was my home base from there. I went to Korea on demonstration team, demonstrating the atomic concept. Small platoons, everybody with automatic weapon. We jumped the airplanes. I did 62 jumps while I was in the military, from flying aircraft. I got out in '59. I came down to Brevard County with a friend of mine who we played football together in high school. His sister had married a fellow who was teaching school there at Monroe, which was an all-black school at that time. And while I was there, he asked me what was I going to do since I was out of the service. Well, I had applied early to go to med school, and got interrupted with this young lady. We got married while I was in the military, and I had two youngsters in 4 years while I was in the military. And I had to take care of my family. My dad believed that whatever you do, you be responsible. It's just that way. He didn't play. My mom didn't play. She was part North Carolina Indian. And they didn't play. My dad had a little statement that he used to make to us. The good Lord engineered you in such a way that he put two big muscles at the base of the brain. And when you start acting like those two big muscles, he was going to force the brain back where it belongs. And he did. And my brother was being road judge in Palm Beach County. He made the statement, I always remember, he said, I will determine what is child abuse. He said, you see those two sitting over there talking about his two kids. He said, I had to go to school to see the young man right there. I had to go to school to put my belt on him because I told him not to take any money to school because he got in a fight with the boy about some money. He said, I will determine. And then he went to quoting scriptures from the book of Proverbs. He said, my dad used to do the same with us. He said, the proverb says, if you spare the rod, you spoil the child. He said, the heart of a child is full of foolishness, but the rod of correction will drive the foolishness from the heart. Now, you can go back and read the book. It's there. And since we're here talking about young people, and Carol knows how I am about that.
Yes, I do.
I tutor a lot of the young people here in this township and have worked with the groups and paid money, my own personal money, to help them do things and to get in school or things they saw when they finish high school. My kids all has gone through a college, a university, because that's what we believed in. And so, discipline is the main issue with our situation today.
So we're talking, you about, excuse me, so we about to talk, you about to get into our question for today. So we better stop you right here. But anyway, as I told you all, I've been on Mr. Smith for quite a while, and I'm glad he's here with us. But I'm gonna stop him right here, if you allow me to, but we're gonna ask him the question. Okay? And the question is, you answer the question from your thoughts, your knowledge, and your belief. And you answer the question from a state level, a country level, or local level. And the question is, what do you think about our future? How do you feel, how do you feel about our future?
What you mean with our
What do you
young
feel,
people?
what do you feel, any area you want to talk about regarding our future? This program is basically about our children, first of all, and then we want to try to, let as many, adults or mature people come on and state their, thought process regarding our future. But, I'm a true believer that, our children are in our future, and I've been an advocate for a while as a child care advocate. So that's why we're here to promote our children. So as you know, we got to continue to encourage them and support them, and teach them when we're able to. So my question again is that tell me, what do you think about our future?
I think that, first of all, that our parents are not as forward as parents of old. Kids, in many homes around, and it's includes white, black, and striped, kids raise themselves. The parents give very little bit of guidance. And our future is looking dimmer because of the type of character that we put in offices that tend to make decisions for the general public. And until we come back to a moralistic type of demonstrating how we should live, we're gonna have some bad problems, so it's gonna be dim. And until we come to that point, there's not gonna be the kind of, say it's a kind of nurture that people like I got when we come up. When I grew up in the neighborhood where I grew up at, people, this included people, and when I say people, this included all colors, race, and creed. If they were a few years older than you, they didn't tell you something to do wrong. And they would get it, and there were not many telephones, but it would always get back home many times before you got back home. So if you acted ugly, your behavior was not what it should be, it got back to your parents. And they would straighten you out because they figured that their process of raising you up was embarrassing, that you were an embarrassment to the group or to the family. If you went out and did something that was not accepted as moral and right. And so, you didn't have the things like you see now. People would be more concerned about being their brother's keeper rather than being their brother's enemy. Because they saw you in need, whatever it may be. Lots of people offered you help. Today, people can see you in need and have plenty, but won't share it with one another like they should. Deviate from what Christ taught his disciples and all the people that he came in contact with. I believe that we should live as he has commanded us, and that we should be our brother's keeper. We should love our neighbor as ourselves and be concerned about neighbor as well as we're concerned about self. This is the kind of life that I have lived here in this town, in this county, and wherever I've been. If I could be of help, I can tell you this, don't hesitate to come see me. I was among the guys who procured this whole site after the school left. We approached the county commissioners, and they allowed us to occupy this whole complex. And we only paid the county $1 a year. And everything that was accumulated here, we gave it back to the community. Nobody got paid a cent for what they did. You spent some time out of your own pocket. But we wrote grants, we had all the buildings air conditioned, and none of them was air conditioned at that time. They had the roll-out windows, they had all that taken out. Had Dr. Laws, Reverend Stafford, and I could go on, Jose Williams, I could go on and on and on, naming people who was on that group. We got Sylvan Park, which is now Campbell Park, we had that renovated and changed around. The railroad used to follow the riverfront around, coming through Titusville. And when they four-lane US 1, I was traveling back and forth from here to Cocoa every day to teach school. And the railroad was a hindrance, just like it is right now. It's a hindrance to the people going to work in the mornings. And when Truman Scarborough was the mayor of this town, no, he was the county commissioner, and was the chairperson for the county commissioners. They were having a problem with the railroad, with the trains coming here and stopping, because from here to New Smyrna, there's only one set of tracks. From here all the way to Miami, there used to be 2 sets of tracks because they had passenger service. And for those who do not know this, when the owner of the railroad system, who lived in St. Augustine, Ed Ball, he broke the union because the railroad was going unionized. And the union requests more money for the workers and better conditions. The railroad stayed dormant for 10 or 12 years. No train ran over those tracks for that length of time when he was breaking the union. Once the union was broken, they only served freight because that's where the greatest amount of money is realized through the ownership. Freight, hauling freight trains back and forth. And so they were having a problem with the freight trains 2 or 3 miles long pulling up and blocking the east-west traffic down at Port St. John's and Fay Boulevard, there at 50, here through this whole town, everywhere there was a sidetrack. They had sidetracks here in the city.
So in other words, you've seen great progress over the, 50, 60 years you've been in the area?
Yeah.
We're going to have to cut the clip a little short here because we need to move on a little bit. Anyway, what I want to say is that we're glad you came on the program. And that's what it's all about. Your point of view, what you know, the future that you see, that you believe can take place. So I'm gonna wrap this up by, extending a happy Memorial Day weekend is upcoming. Want to be sure again that, Ms. London, don't forget to spin the wheel before she leave. We got to remember that as we help, and last but not least, I want to say, for true success, you'll be able to seek, serve, sacrifice, and give. I understand, it's okay, I listen to this, so you deserve that right.
We're going place to place, seeking every faith, regardless of the rate, for every child, every soul, everyone.